Hi all, good afternoon. Welcome to today's discussion. As part of today and tomorrow's discussion, we will take it up a topic called as change in the rate of tax and another topic called as place of supply. These two topics are topics only applicable for CS. These topics are not applicable for CA. So coming back here, as far as your discussions are concerned, uh, over the next 20-30 minutes or so, uh, we will take it up our discussions relating to a very important topic called as change in the rate of tax. Now, some of you will have a doubt, what do we mean by change in the rate of tax? As far as change in the rate of tax, this model is concerned, uh, just think about a possibility where GST law is a new law. It's get introduced sometime during July 2017. Government has brought up the whole law with a particular rate of tax. Government thought all the goods that are liable to tax under GST uh, would be taxed at a very basic rate of let's say 5%, and subsequently government has highlighted what one minute one is not getting connected.
So coming back here, a point need to be noted down by all of us are originally government had varied ideas. They were having thinking different ways in determining rate of tax. But based out on four different logics, government has brought in the rate of tax. There are four different rate of tax when it comes to GST broadly. There is a rate called as 5%. There is a rate called as 12%. Again, another rate of tax called as 18% percentage rate of tax called as 18%. There is yet another rate of tax called as your 28%. So you have 5, 12, 18, and 28. Now we had different rate of tax, but some basic understanding that we need to have is the government has classified something like this. Any goods that is essential, if you think, for a human being to live, milk, curd, rice, pulses, everything, vegetables, fruits, everything, every type of food grain, everything will be exempted, not liable to GST. But the only twist that they had there was, which no one expected, if the food grain or flour or any item comes with a brand name, GST is leviable. Sir, I'm not able to understand this. If somebody buys from the butcher chicken, it's exempted. Some people say, no, 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 we will buy only Sugana chicken. Then it will be liable to tax at 5% rate of tax. Just I'm introducing you how rate of tax is decided. Then we'll come to change in rate of tax. So what government said is, if you want to buy wheat flour, unbranded wheat flour you buy, we will exempt you. If you say I want only Ashirwad atta, Pillsbury atta, this Tata, that Tata only, then very simple, pay my GST 5%. So the entire essential commodities, unbranded essential commodities, was exempted. Essentials, on that essentials, if it comes with a brand, then it is liable for what? GST. There is something called as marinated chicken and all, people told me. So point here is, it has been marinated. Sir, நீங்க சொல்ல வரது எனக்கு புரியல சார். IDs, ready-made parota, ready-made roti, all this is there. Pre-cooked, pre-processed food, liable for GST. Now the point here is, government is not against your parota or your flour, maida flour, but they say நீங்க நாகா தான் வேணும்ன்றீங்க, அனில் தான் வேணும்ன்றீங்கல்ல, அப்ப மட்டும் நான் 5% கலெக்ட் பண்ணிக்கிறேன். Good. So all essentials were taxed at 5%. All luxury items, if you feel anything is luxury, aerated drink is a luxury, Red Bull is a luxury, any kind of aerated drink, Coke, Pepsi, this, that, cigarette, luxury, cars, luxury, motor vehicles, luxury. So any luxury item, luxurious item, we will tax at 28%. Kanna moonu tax pannantam. So all luxurious products will be taxed at 28%. All those what is it? All those products which are liable at your essentials are with a brand name are going to get exempted. With a brand name taxable, without a brand name exempted. And in between rate, no, that is always a win-win situation. You make an item that will be used largely for 5%, then you pay tax at 12%. You process item that will be used for 18%, you pay 18%. This 12 and 18 is always a problematic guy. 5 and 28 has a clear-cut pattern. Okay. So if it is luxury, if government felt 28, see, I'm not sure. I just want you to think of all these situations. A lot of you hail from a place by name called as Chennai, I know. Otherwise, just be aware of this nice place by name called as Chennai. Is it a nice place? Mark, a place like this, it's heaven. Chennai is heaven. When you go outside only, you will know what is the advantages of Chennai, pluses of Chennai. Every place is a heaven for the person who lives there. But the point here is, in spite of this, you have your own touches here. Now, there is a star hotel called as, we have one of the well-recognized star hotel called as ITC Grand Chola. This ITC Grand Chola, a suite room, otherwise called as a suite room. A suite room in ITC Grand Chola comes for a day for roughly about 75,000 rupees. Sir, one day, yeah, a day rental, 75,000 rupees. Now, if a person is ready to afford 75,000 rupees per day as rental, what is difficult for him to pay 28% GST? Where there is difficulty for him to pay 28% GST? Let me repeat it. A suite room at 75,000 rupees will come with all facilities. If he could be going to be a president of China and he comes down over here, China, he will have his personal space. So I should give him a living room. I should give him a bedroom. I should give him a discussion room. Plus, the president will have 4 secretaries. For all 4 secretaries near to him, I should give him some guest rooms. So the whole discussions move in a particular fashion. That these are all the requirement. These were all the requirement of him. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me a minute. Sorry, small office call. No. So come back to a discussion that we have been discussing. The facilities that are in-housed in a place like this is high. So don't get just carried away by the amount. But the point that I want to drive home here is very simple. In a place like this, in a location like this, where if you ask that fellow to pay 28% GST, he will be comfortably in paying it. What is the charm in it for him not to pay that 28%? And he has to be taxed. To the contrary, come all together other way. Somebody who want to go to another location, stay economically without air conditioner, and they go for a rental lodge. I would not even say hotel. You don't have that restaurant facility also. Lodge, stay there for 750 rupees rental. I think he has to be exempted. Best part of Chennai is you have rooms per day for 750. You have rooms per day for 75,000. Not only Chennai, many metros in-house these facilities. Now, you cannot tax all them at same rate. Again, also understand whenever government revenue dips, they will increase the rate of tax. Whenever government revenue goes up, they will decrease the rate of tax. This game also will be played by the government time and again, and based on representation they will say our product is also equivalent to this product. Why not, when you exempt that product, when you change the rate of tax to 5% from 12% for that product, why not you change my product also? I am also a edible product called as sweet. I am also a edible product called as chicky. Now when you could able to reduce the rate of tax of all edible items to 5% from the current rate of 12%, why not to chicky and your what is it, sweets to 5%? Genuine request. Maybe government might consider, government will consider, and this is where the challenge begins. Government will consider and say, from 1/4/2020, your product will move from 5% to 12%. Change in the rate of tax during the period. Government will suddenly say, from 1/1/2020, your product would be liable to tax at the rate of 18% as against 5%. Will government increase the rate? Yes. Again, government steps in and say, your product will reduce the rate. Your product will move from a rate of tax of 28% to 18%. Government can increase the rate, decrease the rate. I am not stepping into what government should do. And again, I am not stepping into any of those cases what government did. All that I want you to understand here is, come on, all this is your part and parcel of all these discussions. Coming back here, we'll do one thing. We'll start try and understand something about change in the rate of tax. Before understanding about change in the rate of tax, let's understand three important events that will be always happening in a supply of goods or a supply of service. When you say there is a supply of goods happened, or when you say there is a supply of services, be it supply of goods, I can handle it same also, be it supply of goods or supply of services. Now, two things are important here in a supply of goods as well as supply of services. Two things are important where the goods or services is supplied. The goods or services is supplied. Now, followed by invoice for supply of goods or services is issued. Similarly, payment for supply of goods or services is received. Now, all that I would discuss with you is only these three key terms. Let me repeat. Uh, I'm not sure. Am I sharing you the Excel sheet? 1 minute. I'll now share. Yeah. I'm talking of only this Excel sheet where supply of goods or services. You all know these terms. All these terms are common terms. Goods supplied or services supplied, followed by invoices issued for supply of goods. Payment is received for supply of services. Now, these three terms are key terms when it comes to supply of goods or services. When you say supply of goods or services, these three terms are the key terms, and these three terms only decide whether a goods is supplied or service is supplied. Now, recollect it. In fact, this supply of goods or services, we called it as completion. Completion in our time of supply. Again, issue of invoice, you know. Again, payment, you know, receipt of payment. So generally, when you will say a supply is completed, when goods are supplied to you, necessary invoice is raised to you, and at the end, you have in return made the payment to me, then yes, you will call it as the respective supply of goods or services is completed, or that is treated as a supply and it is leviable to tax. Now, what we are going to try here is what are all the combinations possible? Let's take up that point first. As we have three situations here, okay, there could be a situation that supply of goods or services is before change in rate of tax. Let me repeat. Services completed before change in rate of tax. Invoice is raised before change in rate of tax, but payment is received after change in rate of tax. Yes or no? Possible. We can actually go on discussion about it, but broadly understand. I think you can make a point here at this level. We will keep two things as constant. Goods or services, change in rate of tax. Goods or services completed before change in rate of tax. Goods or services completed after change in rate of tax. So you are trying to say with us or discuss with us something, but we still lack in that understanding. Yeah, if that be the case, just be with me. I'll take you through to a different magical situation. Maybe once we start discussing that, you all will be able to change in rate of tax. Actually, change in rate of tax can have only two situations. Change in rate of tax can have only two situations. Situation one, supply of goods or services before change in rate of tax. The next one, supply of goods or services after change in rate of tax. This is before change in rate of tax. This is going to be after change in rate of tax. So what is that you are trying or what is that you are planning to discuss with us? I'll take you through. Just give me a minute. I'll take you through. ಆರಂಭಿಸಿದ session. Good. Keep it up. Good. Okay, no problem. I'm on work. No problem. Good. Take care. Good. Return well. Now, sir, why these boxes? You don't make an attempt for anything. These boxes are done with a conscious understanding. Okay. Keep me answering certain questions I'll be asking you. Interesting to note, you will understand in this process the complete change in the rate of tax. Now, as far as change in rate of tax is concerned, it means what? On a particular day, government comes out and announces. We are going to change the rate of tax from our current this rate to XYZ another rate. So here we have comes out. Here we are going to discuss about an announcement made by the government where currently goods, I'll rephrase it. Product A or service A up to 31/1/2020 is liable to GST at the rate of 12% on or after 1/2/2020, liable to GST at the rate of 18%. You come across announcement of government something like this. Government says a particular goods, particular services. I leave it to you. A particular product, a goods, or a particular service. Goods A, goods C. If in case you feel like it would be better, sir. Okay, goods A, goods B, service. A particular goods or particular services, there is going to be a change in rate of tax. Now, when there is going to be a change in the rate of tax, then what we have to immediately look into this change in the rate of tax. Are we need to check anything immediately here? Yes. Whenever there is a change in rate of tax, ask this one question to yourself every time when you do problem, and you can expect problems here. When every time there is going to be a change in rate of tax, ask the next time question, supply of goods or services is before change in rate of tax. What do you mean by supply of goods or services before change in rate of tax? Similarly, supply of goods or services after change in rate of tax. Supply of goods or services going to be after change in rate of tax. Sir, I'm not in a position to well understand this. Nothing great I'm talking here. Supply of goods or services before change in rate of tax. That is to say, goods or services is supplied on 15/13/1/2020. Hope you all understood the problem here. Goods or services supplied on 13/1/2020, but invoice everything is afterwards. Similarly, this is after the key term here is before, the key term here is afterwards. The whole game begins now. Yes. Whenever there is a change in rate of tax, suddenly government announces, yes, from 1 to 2020, rate of tax will be 18%. What is possible? You would have supplied the goods before, but you will raise the invoice later. Possible? Similarly, you would have received the payment before, supplied and raised invoice afterwards. Possible? Now, points here for a discussion. Now, supply is before, goods are for goods or services. Invoice is after. That is to say, the invoice is raised after. Invoices, invoice is issued after. Invoice is issued after. However, payment of tax, payment of payment for supply is before. Now I'm talking of a unique situation. See, goods supplied before. Payment is also received before. Payment for supply. Invoice for supply. It can be supply of goods or whatever services is issued after. Invoice is after, payment is before, and change in rate of tax. That supply is also completed before. What will be your rate of tax? Will the old rate 12% will be applicable, or new rate 18% will be applicable? The whole discussion that we are going to make is just these 2 points. That's all. Is it OR or NR? Is it old rate or it is going to be a new rate? Yes. Yes. Now, points for our discussion. The best part of these discussions is anyone can make this discussion. You all can understand it quickly. So here I'm going to ask you certain questions. Be ready with your chat box. Now, first question. Supply is before, invoice is after, payment is before. Okay. I have told it will be old rate. Okay. Similarly, I'm going to take up an opposite situation of this. Invoice for supply is issued before and issued before. Payment is after. Yes. Payment for supply is after. I just want to know what rate will be applicable. Is it old rate or new rate? Okay. See, you all can answer. This is a topic which is coming up with a lot of common sense. Okay. If you all got your time of supply right, in my view, you should get your change in rate of tax up, right. Only difference between time of supply and change in rate of tax is time of supply does not bother about your percentage, whereas change in rate of tax bother about your percentage. Old rate or new rate? Good. Quick. So let me repeat it. You all have reasons. I don't want your reasons. In fact, I want you to come up with a number, old rate or new rate. Think, answer. If some of them can answer, I think all of them can answer. Quick. Yeah. Very interesting to note. It is going to be Malavika, check your answer. Janaki, Janani, check your answer. It will be old rate. Okay. Now you keep your logics. I will not ask your logic also. Let me repeat. I will not ask your logic also. Now I'm going to go for a different situation where invoice is after and payment is issued also after. Now, in this case, what will be your answer? Old rate or new rate? Quick. If your friend can answer, you can answer. Hamid, Haripriya, quick. Shweta, Sharmila, Sudarshan, Malavika. Agreed with all of you. It will be a new rate, 18%. Now, again, I'll take you through a particular situation where I'm not sure how far this is going to be possible, but actually, by discussing this situation, I've insulted you. Invoice is issued before, payment is before, and supply is also before. All three before. LMA before. Old rate, new rate. Shweta, Hamid, Malavika, Saranya, Shubhastri. Actually, இது வந்து ஒரு நியாயமான கணக்கே கிடையாது. இது ஏமாத்துற வேலை. ஓகே, இங்க சேஞ்ச் இன் ரேட் ஆஃப் டாக்ஸே நடக்கல. நீங்க இன்வாய்ஸும் முன்னாடியே இஷ்யூ பண்ணிட்டீங்க, பேமெண்ட்டும் முன்னாடியே வந்துருது, சப்ளையும் முன்னாடியே வந்திருக்கு. வேர் இஸ் த கொஸ்டின் ஆஃப் சேஞ்ச் இன் ரேட் ஆஃப் டாக்ஸ்? ஓகே, hope by this time you all would have understood that. Yes, change in the rate of tax. Change in the rate of tax means of the three events, one event happened before, balance two event, how it is going to decide. That is, supply is before or supply is after. Supply was kept as constant. If you supplied before, invoice and payment after, one invoice before, one payment after, or payment before, invoice after. அதை வச்சு கேம் ஆடுறாங்க. So let me repeat it. You have completed one part of the section. We'll get into one more part of the section. ஒரு நிமிஷம் இந்த கட்டெல்லாம் மட்டும் பாருங்களேன். இந்த கட்டத்தை பார்த்தா உங்களுக்கு என்ன தோணுது? Use your right brain and answer. You all have chat box. Use your right brain and answer. Don't say me Excel sheet, 3x3 formula, 5x5 formula. Use your right brain. Right brain சொல்லும் என்னெல்லாம். Answer. Then answer. What it thinks or what you feel by looking at this. Quick. We're running short of time. Quick. What do you feel like? Quick. Dairy milk. Correct. Dairy milk. Then anything else. வேற ஏதாவது? எப்போ பாரு லெஃப்ட் பிரெயினே ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கீங்க நீங்க எல்லாம். ரைட் பிரெயினை எப்போ ஷேர் பண்றது? இப்பதான் ஆப்பர்ச்சுனிட்டி. இதுதான். குவிக். Dairy milk. Anything comes to the mind? Yeah, quick. Hey, ஹமீத் மட்டும் தான் ஆன்சர் பண்ணிருக்கான். மத்தவங்க யாருக்கும் எதுவுமே தோணலையா? நான் இப்போ சொல்றேன். ஒரு க்ளூ கொடுக்குறேன். உங்க வாழ்க்கையோட முக்கியமான டாக்குமெண்ட். ஏதாவது புரியுதா? கட்டம்லாம் பார்த்து. கரெக்ட் ஷர்மிளா. ரைட். வாட் இஸ் தட்? அது ஒன்றும் இல்லை. அதை இப்படி merge பண்ணிட்டு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா நல்லா தெரியும். இப்போ தெரியுதா? ஏதோ ஒன்று தெரியுமே. என்ன தெரியும்? நம்ம சிஎஸ் பாஸ் பண்ணுவோமா மாட்டோமான்னு சொல்ற டாக்குமெண்ட். அப்படியா சார்? கரெக்ட் மாளவிகா. ஹாரோஸ்கோப். ஓகே. இது எதுக்கு சார் இப்போ சொன்னீங்கன்னா, these are all documents, these are all more powerful documents people will feel. Come back here, you have 3 transactions. Of the 3 transactions, one transaction will be always neutral, which is not much relevant. Why is not much relevant? I'll give you. Invoice for supply is issued after. Again, payment for supply is after. Supply itself completed after. What will be your rate of tax? Old rate or new rate? Supply is after. Invoice is also issued after. Payment is also much after. Now, old rate or new rate? Malavika, Subhashri, Nitin, Deepthi, Sudarshan, Divya, all now Sharmila, super. கலக்குறீங்க எல்லாரும். அவ்வளவுதான். எல்லாம் நியூ ரேட். சார் ஆக்சுவலா இது 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 என்ன சார் கேள்வி? இது எப்படி சேஞ்ச் இன் ரேட் ஆஃப் டாக்ஸ்? திஸ் இஸ் நாட் அ சேஞ்ச் இன் ரேட் ஆஃப் டாக்ஸ். ஜஸ்ட் ஃபார் யுவர் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங் ஐ எம் ஷேரிங். ஆக்சுவலி there will be 4 situations, no sir அப்படின்னு நாளைக்கு டவுட் வரும்ல. ஆமா, பட் இன் செக்ஷன் we will discuss only about 3 situations. What are those 3 situations, sir? Payment is before, invoice is after. Payment is after, invoice is before. Invoice and the payment both are not after, before. Now, all that one question that I'm going to ask before you is, take up a situation, supply is done after, but payment is received before, invoice is raised after. Old rate or new rate? Supply is before, supply is after, payment alone received before, and invoice is after. Old rate or new rate? Okay, new rate, old rate, new rate. Except one, all of you getting new rate. Now, just for your information, it will be new rate. Okay. Similarly, payment is before, invoices, payment is before, invoice is before, but supply alone after. Old rate or new rate? Okay. All of you all right, old rate. Now again, payment is after, but invoice is before, and supply is also after. Old rate or new rate? Payment is after. Invoices, payment is after, invoice is issued before, but supply is after. Old rate, new rate. will be new rate. Sir, is this is not okay. Before me giving the clue, before me giving the clue, now all of you who got all these answers, you're all right. A lot of you're all right. What was the basis for coming up with the answer? What was the basis of yours to come up with the correct answer like this? In fact, you all got it, all these situations right. மொத்தமாவே இவ்வளவுதான் situations. இதை விட்டுருங்க, அந்த ரெட் கலர் வராது, இதெல்லாம் தான் எக்ஸாம்ல வரும். நம்ம ரெட் கலரோடய சொல்லுவோம். What was your basis for getting answer? You relied on what? Sir, very simple, sir. I relied on invoice or payment, whichever is earlier, time of supply concept. Correct. ஆனா இங்க ஒரே ஒரு பிரச்சனை தான். Okay, this is against time of supply logic. எல்லா இடத்துலயும் ஜெயிச்சிடும் உங்க லாஜிக். உங்க லாஜிக் அப்படியே எல்லா இடத்துலயும் ஜெயிக்கும். ஒரே ஒரு இடத்துல மட்டும் தோற்று போகும், ஒரு ரெண்டு இடத்துல. அதுதான் இந்த ரெண்டு இடம். பேமெண்ட் இஸ் ஆஃப்டர், இன்வாய்ஸ் இஸ் பிஃபோர், சப்ளை இஸ் ஆஃப்டர். சப்ளை ஆஃப்டர். சார், நான் இன்வாய்ஸ் அடிக்கிற அன்னைக்கு நான் டாக்ஸ் கட்ட வேண்டாமா? கட்டணும். ஆனா உங்க சப்ளை ஆஃப்டரா இருக்கு, பேமெண்ட் ஆஃப்டரா இருக்கு. இதுக்கு நடுவுல சேஞ்ச் இன் ரேட் ஆஃப் டாக்ஸ் வந்துருச்சுன்னா section 14 overrides your section 12 and 13. Read through it in your PPT. Section 14 overrides 12 and what? 13. 12 and 13 சொன்னது இம்பார்ட்டண்டா, 14 சொன்னது இம்பார்ட்டண்டா அப்படின்னா 14 சொன்னது தான் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட். சார், கட்டங்கட்டமா போட்டு என்னெல்லாமோ காமிச்சிங்க, எனக்கு ஒண்ணுமே புரியல சார் அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா, I will take you through the easiest logic of the earth, which is there are 3 transactions. After 3 transactions, where 2 transaction comes, that becomes your rate of tax. Sir, what is that you are saying? Oh, see. Change in rate of tax. Supply before, invoice and payment is after. So what rate is applicable? New rate. Supply before, invoice issue before, payment after. So what rate is applicable? Old rate. Supply before, payment before, invoices after. So what rate applicable? Old rate. Invoice before, supply and payment is after. Then what rate is applicable? New rate. Let me repeat, new rate against your time of supply logic. Invoice before, payment before, supply afterwards. Again, old rate. Payment before, invoice and supply afterwards. Again, against point of taxation, new rate. So the point that I want to drive home here is, come back. These two are against your logic of point of taxation. No doubt. These two are against your logic of point of taxation. But somehow today the order of the day is like this. So come back. Even now you are not convinced. ஒரு நிமிஷம் யோசிச்சு பாருங்க. இது இல்லாம நம்ம சொல்லுவோம் invoice after, change supply before, payment before, invoice after. ரெண்டு பிஃபோர்ல இருக்கு. So what will come? Old rate. Supply before, invoice and payment after. ரெண்டு நியூல இருக்கு. அப்ப என்னது? New rate applicable. Invoices before, supply is also before, payment is what? After. So apna enna applicable again? Old rate applicable. Old rate, new rate, old rate. Logic. This is otherwise called as 2/3 rule or rule of majority. Examல as per 2/3 rule அப்படின்லாம் எழுதக்கூடாது. 2/3 rule or rule of majority, where rule of majority, 2/3 rule or rule of majority. Hope all of you got it right at this level. And in case any doubts, yes, I would take it up. Sir, is it not against your time of supply logic? நான் அதுக்கு தான் அழகா பிபிடிலே உங்களுக்கு சொல்லிட்டேன், இங்கேயும் சொல்லிட்டேன் பாருங்க. Against time of supply na அதுக்கு தான் செக்ஷன்ல ஓவர் ரைடிங் எஃபெக்ட் கொடுத்தாங்க. செக்ஷன்ல எல்லாத்துலயும் பாத்தீங்கன்னா யூ ஹாவ் அ ஓவர் ரைடிங் எஃபெக்ட் ஹியர். செக்ஷன் 12 and 13 overrides all the other sections. True. Can you move forward? Yes. So how we will get an exam question, sir? You'll be getting an exam question where they will say this date so much they did, that date so much they did. So you need to decide what is the rate of tax for that transaction. Can you move forward? Do you all feel you want to do a problem? If you say yes, text it on the chat box so that you want to do a problem. Yes or no? ப்ராப்ளம் போடணும்னா எஸ்ன்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா ப்ராப்ளம் போடலாம். நோ சொன்னீங்கன்னா வேண்டான்னு விட்டுறலாம். எஸ்ஸா நோவா? So the government has changed rate of tax for a particular goods to 18% on or after 24/3/2020. Before, the said goods was liable for GST at the rate of 12% up to 23/3/2020. So make a note of this discussion. After that, don't say me, it was there in the chat box, everything gone, no stories. Now, invoice was issued on 12 2019. Sorry. 12 invoice was issued on 12/3/2020 and payment was made on 29/3/2020. About rupees 5 lakh worth of goods was supplied by the supplier. Calculate the GST payable. A very specific standard sum. You have everything in your chat box. Read through the sum, arrive the value, multiply the GST rate, you get the number. Yes. Sorry. not goods supplied on hmm, my question is very clear. What is your GST payable? There is the amount, there is a percentage. You will arrive GST calculator and mention it here. Yeah. So rate will be what? 12% or 18%. 12 or 18. Yes. Lot of you got it 12%, lot of you got it 60,000 rupees. Both are right. In fact, 60,000 rupees is what you have to mention. You have to write it that here there is a change in rate of tax. Prior to that, the rate of tax was 12%. After that, the rate of tax was 18%. Invoice is issued before change in rate of tax. Supply is made before change in rate of tax, and payment is after change in rate of tax. Hence, rate of tax will be. So a situation like this will be given, and you will be given dates. You have to select answer something. So answer will be 60,000, answer will be 90,000, anything, any combination they can test you. Would your answer be different if goods are supplied on 15/4/2020? In the above question, would your answer be different if the goods are supplied on 15/4/2020? Actual supply of goods is happened in 54/2020. Yes. Will there be a change in the difference? Lot of you texting. Sujit, either. Sujit, not. Sujit. Yes. Under section 14, INR. Under section 14, new rate will be 80%. 90,000 rupees. So the point here, Divya Mahalingam, don't say old rate because invoice is already issued as raised. Yeah. Sorry. Sorry. The link but the page. That yes. Haripriya Sujit. Malavika. Yes. 5 lakhs into 18%, 90%. Good. So that sums up your discussion relating to change in rate of tax. A very small topic, nothing great about it. Just appreciate this topic. That's it. Maximum you can be tested sometime as for an MCQ or relating to that. Getting back quickly to one of your important topic called as place of supply. I'm sure you would have not forgotten a topic by name called as the nature of supply. Nature of supply was a very important topic on one ground. Whether something is a intrastate supply or interstate supply, can be decided only based on your nature of supply. Your nature of supply alone decides what is going to be your nature of supply alone going to decide what is going to be your levy section. That is to say, if you decide a nature of supply as intrastate supply, then levy section is as per section 9. In case if you're going to say, no, it is an interstate supply, then levy section is section 5 of IGST Act. So to decide a levy, you should know nature of supply. To know nature of supply, you require two elements. There should be a supply and there should be a supplier, and that supplier's place of supply is more important. Location of supplier and place of supply will give a result of nature of supply. So come back, appreciate the importance that place of supply is why important. Why I need to know about place of supply. Place of supply alone can make a person to decide what is going to be his levy. Will the levy will be intrastate supply or interstate supply? Can be decided only with the help of place of supply. Now, in place of supply, it can be broadly categorized into two entries: place of supply for goods and place of supply for services. Again, goods and services are further broadly classified into four sections: 10, 11, 12, 13. Section 10 of IGST Act, Section 12 of IGST Act discuss about domestic transactions relating to place of supply. Section 11 of IGST Act and Section 13 of IGST Act discuss about international transactions relating to place of supply. So coming back here, Section 10 of IGST Act. As far as Section 10 of your IGST Act, place of supply of goods other than export or import transaction. If it is an export transaction, it is not covered here. If it is an import transaction, it is not covered here. Understand, we are talking of all those place of supply of goods, all place of supply of goods other than export import transaction. Why? Because it's an international transaction covered by Section 11 of NSR discussion. Here we are going to discuss only about section here we are going to discuss only about your section 10 discussions. So 10 alone we are going to discuss. So come back here. Intention of us is to start with. So I'll try for a small whiteboard presentation to you so that you get a little more grip like how you got it in terms of your change in the rate of tax. Now, maybe we'll go to whiteboard because that is where you'll get the grip. We have a topic called as place of supply. Now, as far as this topic is concerned, it can be broadly classified. It can be broadly classified into two things. It can be broadly classified into a place of supply of goods. Again, similarly, a place of supply of services. Goods supply and services supply. So coming back here we will discuss about place of supply of goods. Similarly, place of supply of services. So this is what you have been highlighting all along in our session. Correct. I'm not denying a fact. This is what I've been highlighting. Place of supply of goods and place of supply of service. Is the whole discussion ends here? No. Now this can be again further divided into. This can be further divided into. mm, mm, This is where the whole begins. So place of supply of goods for international transaction. Again, place of supply of goods, domestic transaction. I think I can't raise the bar beyond it. Yes. So similarly, fine here. I put it like this. Yeah, domestic transactions and something like here you have international transactions. And all independent section, four independent sections, section 10, 11, 12, 13. So you can have a separate discussion for international, you can have a separate discussion for domestic transactions. Again, in domestic transaction for goods separately and services separately. Here DT, here DT, if you take domestic transactions. So that is what we are trying in here over our presentation, where in case of domestic transaction, in case of your domestic transaction, what is going to be important for someone in case of domestic transaction? So don't get carried away by those definitions. Those definitions are all important. I'm not absolutely saying not important. Read it once. All that is known to you. Place of business means the place where goods are stored. Principal place of business means the place where the registration certificate is there. Fixed place of establishment means the place where they have a essential location. That and all is not problem to you at your level. You can always read and understand all that. I'll be getting to the core discussion because this is a little lengthier presentation. I would not say a difficult presentation. It's absolutely easy. You should start cracking the logics associated with it. The moment you start cracking the logic associated with it, when the moment you start understanding why some transactions are all here, I think you nailed it beyond that. You absolutely nailed it beyond that point. So come back here for our discussions associated with those aspects. In that background, section 10 talks about place of supply of goods other than export and import. So if you're going to export goods, this discussion will not be applicable. If you're going to export goods, this discussion will not be applicable. Other than that, 5 possibilities. Let me repeat, only 5 possibilities are possible. Possibility number 1, when goods involve movement, how to determine place of supply. In case of goods are billed to one person and delivered to another person. Goods are going to be delivered to one person and billed to another person. What to do? Bill to, ship to, what to do? In case where goods does not involve movement, how to determine place of supply? In case goods are going to be assembled or installed, how to determine place of supply? In case goods or services provided on board of a conveyance, how to determine place of supply? Any other way, if place of supply cannot be determined, government can determine. Government has not notified anything. So the core discussion of us is there can be only 5 situations for place of supply when it comes to when it comes to goods, movement of goods, place of supply for five reasons. When goods involves movement, in case of bill to ship to transaction, in case where the goods does not involve movement, followed by a last but one situations, goods involve movement, bill to ship to transaction, goods does not involve movement, assembling and installation, followed by a last question, onboard conveyance. Now, place of supply, how I can determine? Very simple. 95% times goods will move. Whenever goods involves movement, the place where the movement terminates for delivery will become place of supply. The place where the movement terminates for delivery. The place where the movement terminates for delivery will become place of supply. Where are you terminating the delivery? Then that place will become your place of supply. Coming back here, a goods is supplied from Chennai, Tamil Nadu, Chennai to Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore. Goods moves from Chennai yesterday, loaded in lorry, consignment note, everything is raised, and goods are moving now. Now, what is the place of supply for this transaction? Ask the question, where the goods are going to get delivered. Goods are going to be delivered in which state? Ask the question. Goods are going to be delivered in Tamil Nadu. Then place of supply is Tamil Nadu. Why, sir? Movement of goods, if it is involved, the place where the movement terminates, where the vehicle will stop transporting that goods. The vehicle stop transporting the goods the once it reaches Coimbatore, then place of supply becomes Coimbatore. Now read this topic from a different angle. Location of supplier, Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Place of supply, Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore. Then it becomes intrastate. This time goods moves and goes to Andhra Pradesh, Visakhapatnam, Vizag, otherwise called as. Goods goes to Vizag. Then again, the person takes a call here. Sir, the place where the movement terminates for that goods is Vizag. So place of supply is Vizag. Location of supplier, Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Place of supply is the place where the movement terminates is Andhra Pradesh. There, Visakhapatnam. As usual, very simple. It will become interstate supply. So the decision as to whether it will be intrastate supply or it is going to be interstate supply is based on a topic called as place of supply. So I'll not come back again for this for a revision. But just be aware or minded that whenever goods involve movement, the place where the movement terminates is become your place of supply. Having said, the place where the movement terminates is going to be your place of supply. In case where the in all those cases, in cases where the goods are delivered to one person, goods are billed to another person. Sir, will there be a possibility at all first like this, where goods will be delivered to one person and bill will be raised to one person? Very simple. Take an example. You have a friend in Bangalore. It was a normal duration, normal time, where you made a bill payment to the Amazon vendor and instructed the vendor that it is a gift and it has to be delivered tomorrow at Bangalore. The vendor has accepted that. A question before you, who made the payment? You. To whom bill will come? In your name. But where goods goes? In case of bill to ship to transaction, bill will go to one location, goods will go to another location. How it is different from the previous entry, movement of goods, sir? In movement of goods, goods and bill will go to the same location. When it comes to this new discussion, which is bill to ship to transaction, bill alone will go to that person and the goods will go to another person for various reasons in business. Let me repeat. For various known in businesses, this is possible. In a situation like this, place of supply, let me repeat, place of supply, whether the person has to pay CGST, SGST or IGST, place of supply will be determined based on to whom the goods are going to be billed. Place of supply is based on the certificate where the principal place of business of the person is taken. So my intention is very simple. The place where the goods are going to be, the place where you are going to raise invoice, that will become place of supply. I'll take you through a particular example. You say me one after the other for this question. Mr. A, who lives in Pune, has bought Mr. A, who lives in Pune, has bought goods from Amazon and instructed the supplier to deliver the goods to a customer. Deliver the goods to a customer in Bangalore, Karnataka. The supplier of goods is in Andhra Pradesh, Vizag. The instructing party, Mrs. A, Limited, A, is in Chennai. Yes. Read through this question. I just not want to know from you what is going to be your place of supply. Mr. A, who lives in Pune, has bought a goods from Amazon and instructed the supplier to deliver the goods to a customer in Bangalore. To his customer, not a customer, to a customer in Bangalore. The supplier of the goods is located in AP Vizag. The instructing party, Mr. A or Mr. A, is located in Chennai. Yes. Now, in a situation like this, what will be the place of supply? Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. By example, quick. Andhra Pradesh or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu. Always place of supply will be state. Okay. Though the question gives you other than state also, it's your duty bound to say state. 90% question will be drafted well and they'll give you only state names. I'm just sharing to you. Quick. No idea. Mr. A, who lives in Pune, has bought the goods from Amazon and instructed the supplier to deliver the goods in Bangalore. The supplier who has agreed to supply the goods in Bangalore is located in Karnataka and yes. And the instructing party is located in Chennai. Quick. Only 4 of you are pinged. I think I already shared. Pune and all cannot be a place of supply. Only Maharashtra can be place of supply. Place of supply will always remain as a state name. State name will be treated as your place of supply. So come back here. No, very simple. Who is going to give instruction for delivery of goods? Ask him. The instruction for delivery of goods. The instruction for delivery of goods comes from. Instruction for delivery of goods comes from a very simple person. who is located in Chennai. So the instructing party is located in Chennai. So place of supply will be Tamil Nadu. Sir, how you decided that? Very simple. I not decided straight away Tamil Nadu. I was deciding on every number. I asked the question first to this question, whole question, how I analyzed this. I checked what is the location of supplier. What is the location of supplier? Yes, supplier is of look goods is located in AP Vizag. So Vizag supplier is located. Then followed by I have been happen to know that the recipient is located in location of recipient. Actually not relevant, but I also captured that information. Location of recipient. The recipient seems to be a person located in no, not Bangalore, sorry. Recipient seems to be located, or the instructing party seems to be located in Chennai. Location of recipient or location of instructing party is going to be Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Place of supply will be now where the goods goes is not relevant. Where to whom it is billed alone is relevant. It is billed to Chennai, so place of supply will be Chennai. However, the delivery of goods happens for that transaction to Karnataka. That is so. Just for your information, place of supply will be the place where the goods are built. Location of supplier is Vizag. Location of recipient where the goods are going to be built. The delivery of goods is going to happen in Karnataka, no doubt. But place of supply will be when goods goes to one location, bill goes to another location. The place where the bill goes, that will become your place of supply. Who told us that? 10-1P. Sir, if goods and bill goes to same location, up 10-1A item, movement of the destination of goods will become place of supply. Hope you could able to understand this logic. Followed by the next situation. When goods does not involve movement, sometimes do happen where there will be no movement of goods. There will be a possibility there is no movement of goods at all. In case where there is no movement of goods at all, goods does not move at all. Sir, abdila nadakum. Where goods does not involve movement. Sometimes government says, you sell the goods without movement. Possible. Many situations are there. I'll share you one situation. One person had a warehouse full of goods. Last 2-3 years, he never did business. All are steel only. Fourth year, he opened the store and told, come on, all people to take it. And maybe he will also say, sell it as it were its basis. Everything is here. Ask somebody to come and sell here. நான் யாருக்கெல்லாம் அனுப்ப மாட்டேன். இங்கேருந்து எடுத்துன்னு போக சொல்லு. இல்லைன்னா அவனை இந்த வேர் ஹவுஸ் வச்சுக்க சொல்ல, நான் இந்த வேர் ஹவுஸ் விட்டு போயிடுறேன். So something of this where goods does not involve movement. Whenever goods does not involve movement, the location of the goods, where it is located, location of goods at the time of delivery will become place of supply. Sometimes goods are assembled or installed. In case of assembling and installation, the place where the goods are assembled or installed will become place of supply. Sir, what do we mean by assembling and installation? Machinery is assembled, a big product is installed. The place where you installed, very interesting questions will come. Supplier will be located in Andhra Pradesh. Recipient will be located in Tamil Nadu. Machinery installation will happen in Andhra Pradesh. Place of supply will be Andhra Pradesh. Why, sir? In case of assembling and installation, now the place where the goods is installed, that will become place of supply. Followed by the last entry, onboard conveyance. In case of onboard conveyance, how place of supply will be determined? Government comes out and says very, very simply, when the goods are sold in a moving train, when the goods are sold in a moving aircraft, how to determine place of supply? Very simple. From where the goods are taken on board, in which place the goods are taken on board. Place of supply shall be the location where the goods are taken on board. When goods are sold in a onboard conveyance, if a goods is going to go from, let's say, Delhi to Chennai, or Chennai to Delhi, as the case may be, Chennai to Delhi flight, then place of supply shall be the location where the goods are taken on board. The goods that is sold in aircraft between Chennai to Delhi, where the goods would have been taken. They are taken in Chennai. That place of supply is Chennai. When I sell, sir, when I was selling, it was nearing Hyderabad in the flight. Where you sold. If you sell to Chennai, place of supply is Chennai. If you sell to another location, place of supply is another location. In case of onboard conveyance, where the goods are taken on board, that will become place of supply. In cases where it cannot be determined, it will be determined as per central government. Central government has not notified anything. As of now, 5 place of supply for goods. When goods involves movement, the ultimate destination of the goods for delivery becomes place of supply. When goods does not involve movement, the place where the goods are located, that will become place of supply. Third, in a case where goods is billed to one person, one location, and delivered to another person, another location, then in case of bill to ship to transaction, yes, the place where it is going to be billed, that will become place of supply. In case of erection, commissioning, installation, more specifically in assembling and installation, the place where it is assembled, that will become place of supply. In case of onboard conveyance, then if a goods is taken on board, water bottle, biscuit, chocolate, not food services and all, that and all is service. I'm talking of goods, water bottle, chocolate, chips, biscuit packet, or whatever those services provided by those fellows. Water goods taken on board, where it is taken on board. Sir, everything is taken on board in Chennai. Place of supply is Chennai. Where you taken on board those items, that would decide your place of supply. And this sums up your first discussion on section 10, which talks about domestic transaction in case of goods. Similarly, for services, we have about let me repeat, 13 subsections, okay, for services. Before me completely move towards services, I want to test you on this time of supply of goods, place of supply of goods, coupled with nature of supply. All along my testing was only on place of supply. When we couple this topic with nature of supply, are you able to answer it well? Is the question or the flow that is going to be here. Now, come back here. I'll raise all the questions in the chat box. You start answering all those questions in the chat box. To start with, R Limited, located in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, has supplied goods to S Limited, SEZ unit, located in Coimbatore. R Limited, located in Tamil Nadu, Chennai, has supplied goods to S Limited, a SEZ unit located in Coimbatore. And the goods are delivered by the supplier to the recipient's factory. So determine place of supply. So what is going to be the place of supply of goods for this transaction? Yeah. What will be the place of supply of goods? Good, good. Started to answer. Good, 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 good. Now, yeah, a few more people can also answer. If you can say Tamil Nadu within bracket Chennai or Tamil Nadu Coimbatore, yes, you can. It will be a little more helpful. Yes, Divya went one step forward. Huh? Good. Yes. Quick, 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 quick. இதெல்லாம் அண்டர்ஸ்டாண்டிங், இதெல்லாம் நீங்க ஆன்சர் பண்ணீங்க மட்டும்தான் தெரியும். So Ananya, what is your answer finally? Answers இல்லாம ப்ரொவிஷன் தான் சொன்ன மாதிரி தெரியுது. SEZ is not treated as export. SEZ is treated as zero rated supply. நான் பிளேஸ் ஆஃப் சப்ளை கேள்வி தான் கேட்டிருக்கேன். நான் இன்னும் நேச்சர் ஆஃப் சப்ளை கேள்வியே கேட்கல. நான் இன்னும் அடிக்கவே இல்லை. அதுக்குள்ள எல்லாரும் நேச்சர் ஆஃப் சப்ளை சொல்ல ஆரம்பிச்சாச்சு. குட், ஐ எம் ஹாப்பி. Now, your place of supply will be Tamil Nadu, Coimbatore, and nature of supply will be intrastate supply, interstate supply. Intra, inter, interstate supply. Good, good. No. Ananya, check. Always SEZ transactions are interstate supply. SEZ, import of goods, import of services, all are yes. பாருங்க இதெல்லாம் படிச்சாச்சு. இதெல்லாம் என்னது கோல்டன் ரூல்ஸ் ஆஃப் அக்கௌண்டிங் மாதிரி அப்படி எடுத்து மனசுல ஒட்டி வச்சுக்கணும். 7, 8, 9 ஆஃப் IGST ஆக்ட். அதை முடிச்சதுக்கு அப்புறம் தான் 10 இது வரும். ஓகே, குட். Now coming back here, another problem. R Limited, located in TN Chennai, has supplied goods to S Limited, a SEZ unit located in AP, Tirupati. Okay. However, S Limited has instructed R Limited to deliver goods to Q Limited in TN Madurai, and the goods are delivered by R Limited to Q Limited. Determine place of supply. Quick. See, the fashion in which you answer this, no, that only gives me an input. Have you understood this or not? இதெல்லாம் கொஞ்சம் டஃப்பான டாபிக் தான். டக்குன்னு புரிஞ்சிச்சுன்னா ஓகே, ஐ எம் ஹாப்பி ஃபார் இட். R Limited located in Tamil Nadu. R Limited located. See, you can write like this: determine place of supply of goods. Once you determine place of supply of goods, you can also determine nature of supply of goods. nature of supply of goods, nature of supply. If you are through with place of supply, then you can always determine the nature of supply. அப்ப ஜாலியா இருக்கும் அவ்வளவுதான். பாருங்க அதி பிளேஸ் ஆஃப் சப்ளை தமிழ்நாடு ஐஜிஎஸ்டி பாசிபிளே இல்ல அது. ஐம் சாரி மாட்டினீங்க. அனன்யா ஆதி இல்ல, புரியல உங்களுக்கு, இன்னும் புரியல, சாரி. ஹேமா காட் இட் ரைட், ஸ்வேதா காட் இட் ரைட், சுதர்ஷன் காட் இட் ரைட், இன்ட்ரா ராங். Now Divya got it right. Naresh in data entry error நினைக்கிறேன், சரியா வரல. Deepthi got it right. Okay. Sharmila, you should not say Tirupati, you should say only Andhra Pradesh. I understand. So followed by, this is Hamid, this is, let me repeat, this is a clear case of bill goes to one location and goods are delivered at another location. Check. R Limited in Tamil Nadu has supplied the goods to S Limited in AP. Or I should have not used that word, supplied the goods. That may be a mistake on my end. R Limited in Chennai has agreed to supply goods to S Limited. Okay. However, S Limited has instructed R Limited to deliver the goods to Q Limited. Instead of using the word agree to supply goods, I have used the word supplied the goods. Probably that would have misled some of you. But understand, here there are three players: R Limited, Q Limited, and P Limited. S Limited. R Limited, S Limited, Q Limited. When you have more than two players, obviously it cannot be covered by the erstwhile situation. You cannot cover this in this situation itself, movement of goods situation. It has to be covered only by, and moreover, a bill is raised on one location. Bill is raised on one location, and the instruction, delivery instruction, goes to another location, or goods goes to another location. That is a lead to you. In a movement of goods, recollect your earlier problem. ரெண்டு பேர் தான் இருப்பாங்க. ஒருத்தர்கிட்ட இன்னொருத்தட்ட குட்ஸும் போகும், பில்லும் போகும். இங்க மூணு பேர் இருக்காங்க. பிளஸ் ஒருத்தருக்கு குட்ஸ் போகுது, ஒருத்தருக்கு பில்லு போகுது. அப்போ யாருக்கு பில்லு போகுதோ, that will become your place of supply. The place where the goods bill goes, that becomes your place of supply. Where the bill goes, when we go back and search, that would be your Andhra Pradesh. Hope all of you got it right. So it would be AP and it would be interstate supply. Same logics you have to apply when it comes to your in cases where it is going to be a installation of goods. Leave movement wherever movement is not involved. Leave, that is not a real interesting question. A company installed a machine in Karnataka. Location of supplier Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Location of recipient Tamil Nadu, Hosur. But machinery alone was installed in Karnataka, Bangalore. What will be the place of supply? Quick. Yes, Karnataka, Bangalore. Now, once you got the place of supply, next question: location of supplier Tamil Nadu, Chennai. Location of recipient Tamil Nadu and Hosur. Place of supply we have identified because installation happened in Bangalore. The place where it is installed or the place where it is assembled, that will become place of supply. Agreed. No change. A lot of you got it right. Now, what is nature of supply? When we go back and check, location of supplier Tamil Nadu, place of supply Bangalore, nature of supply will be interstate supply. Can you able to appreciate this discussion? That's it. So followed by same in the case of a supplier who supply goods to a train. The supplier who supply goods to a train. Supplier is located in Coimbatore. Recipient is also located in Coimbatore. Very interesting to note. Stock alone always will be loaded only in the train that moves from Palakkad. Can you able to understand this discussion? Supplier is located in Coimbatore. Recipient is also located in Coimbatore. Water bottle, biscuit, chocolates, everything will be located, loaded in a train, a particular train, where the supplier is using that goods and all for selling inside the train. Train is onboard conveyance. Palakkad is a place originated from Kerala. So place of supply will be Kerala. When place of supply is Kerala, for this transaction, nature of supply will be interstate supply. See, don't get carried away by location of supplier and location of recipient. It is location of supplier and place of supply. I think now you will understand. If I give a situation, you can determine place of supply. Once determining place of supply, you can further determine what? Your nature of supply. Then, like how we did it for goods, we can also do it for services. Like how we did it for now for domestic transaction, we can also do it for international transaction. My humble view, uh, today I thought to start domestic transaction services itself. I had some committee meeting, so I explained it to you earlier itself. Because of that, there was a paucity in a delay in uh, taking up this session. What we will do now is I'm not inclined to press you more. I have already pressed you quite a some time. I also have a session back at 5:30, so I have to begin that session. So point is for us, we have a topic which is little tough to close within that set time. Maybe if time permits, I'm not sure tomorrow because again I have another same committee's meeting tomorrow also. I'll try and see to close this topic. In case if it is not getting closed on the third class, let CA people come little late and join us. First half an hour or so, we will close it. In my view, if you are taking good grip, what grip if you took now, in the same way, if you took a grip of domestic transaction in a great way, international taxation is because copy paste of domestic transaction. So be clear. And I'll also come back to you. In somehow I saw a memory. This is not my recent memory. Quite some time before, 3-4 months before, when your material was prepared. At that time, I saw taxation was not international transaction was not part of your syllabus. In case it is not part of syllabus, thank you. Time would be sufficient for us to close. In case it is forming part of your syllabus, it will take a little more, half an hour, 45 minutes. Either we'll close it tomorrow or it will, because service discussion will take solidly 1 hour, 1 hour, 15 minutes, plus problems, all that when we discuss it will take a little more time. So thank you all for effective and patient listening. So we will meet tomorrow, same time at 3. Thank you. Good day.